I got a question for you. Do you think Hugh was trying to like off his own like demon out of him? Like, do you think like it was in his head that
Kevin?
Well, no.
The
He's
fuck?
not.
I think you killed me.
Hey everyone, welcome to Straight Jacket Talk, where it's two guys, a girl, and a horror show. My name is Kevin, and I'm joined by a guy who loves car sex. It's Nathan.
Yeah, it's great to be cramped and not be able to move where you want to move. And actually, you're wrong. It sucks. Car sex is bad.
But you found cars sexy. Oh,
Sex with cars is a whole different story.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, no.
let's not get him started. I'm also joined by a girl who sees naked demon people. It's Jill.
Yeah, I like to call them succubi, potato.
Are they friends?
I don't know.
We watched It Follows from 2014. It was written and directed by David Robert Mitchell. That was such a nice, easy name. I'm so
That's
happy.
3 first names.
It really is.
3 first names. Does that cancel out and make it so you can trust them because you can't trust somebody with 2 first names?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But then you go to a third one and it's just opposite, like a double
Yes.
negative.
I think you're right. You're onto something here.
Yeah.
It Follows stars Maika Monroe. I just recently watched in Long Legs, so it's kind of cool to see her in 2 of the more well-known horror movies of the last 15 years or so. Let's play the budget game since Jill is back. I saved it just for you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
It Follows had a budget of $1.3 million. Do you know how much it made at the box office? Nathan, start us off.
This movie had a lot of hype back when it came out, so I'm going to guess it did well and say it made $12 million.
$13 million.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Price is writing me over here.
Yep. And she's the closest.
Ah,
It Follows made $23.3 million at the box office.
that is extremely successful for $1.3 million. And for
Yeah.
an independent horror movie that's sort of art housey, especially.
Yeah, for sure. This did really well. Speaking of it doing really well, currently on Rotten Tomatoes, It Follows has a 95% critic score. You heard me right, 95% critic score and a 66% audience score. So this is certified fresh. Is this the highest rated Rotten Tomatoes movie we've done?
Maybe?
Leprechaun 2 didn't come close.
Oh, jeez.
No, it didn't.
But what did we think of this movie? Before we get into our review, if you guys could please hit the like and subscribe button and also hit the notification bell, because when we have a new video, you'll be the first to know. Isn't that right, Nathan?
Yes, it's a privilege.
And Nathan will follow you.
This is true.
Be scary. I'll be
Right.
naked too.
Damn.
100%. Peeing
Yeah.
himself.
Although she wasn't naked. She had a tit out, but
You will have one tit out.
yeah.
Just one. This was Jill's pick for an episode. So, Jill, why did you choose It Follows for us to review?
I saw It Follows for the first time a couple years ago. One of my friends showed it to me. And at the time, I thought it was really cool. And I might have seen it since, like once or twice. But it's one that you can really talk to people about. And that's something I really like about it. On my other podcast, It's Lay's podcast, the very first episode of that podcast is an episode for It Follows. And that's because my co-host and good friend Rowan, that's his favorite movie of all time, I think.
Really?
He even came down to the States and did I don't know, he went to Detroit and went to a bunch of the filming locations and stuff. So he's a really
wow.
big fan.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to do an episode on it, but I couldn't because It's Lay's already did it. So I was like, I need to save this for a straight jacket talk. And I'm excited to see what you guys think of it. So that is why I chose it.
It's his favorite. You would think he'd want to cover it multiple times.
Right? Well, it's kind of sacred to them because his wife, Exilia, was on the show at the time. And
Right.
yeah.
I want to get everyone's overall thoughts on It Follows. Nathan, start us off. Is this your first time seeing It Follows, or had you seen it before?
No, I saw it before, just at some point, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think it's been on Max actually forever. I really love It Follows a lot. I remember when I saw it the first time, I thought it was like an unmatched masterpiece. On rewatch, I think it's really, really good. I think it's because I've seen a lot more movies in that vein since then that I actually kind of think are better. I love a monster movie where the monster is a metaphor, and I love trying to pick apart symbolism and stuff like that, because this movie is very much about more than what you actually see on screen. You know, it's got stuff to say, but it's not just outright saying it. It leaves stuff for you to discover. For instance, the first time I saw it, it never occurred to me to figure out who it was that the monster was pretending to be in the pool scene at the end. You know, and then this time I was like, holy shit, it's who? And I'm sure we'll get to talking about that eventually. It's a great movie. Like I said, I think I soured on it a little bit compared to my first time watching it, but I still love it. I still think it's a great movie.
Now that you brought up like the people who were shown as the demons, it's kind of crazy. I never really thought about it either. I hadn't seen this movie since it first came out, so it's been probably 10 years since I've seen this movie. So it was like a first time watch for me. I remembered I liked it a lot and thought like really good things. I just never rewatched it for some reason. So like now that you're talking about stuff like that, I really never even thought of stuff like that, because I think like this time I was really just in it for the ride and going through it a little bit and wasn't like overthinking things so much. Don't get me wrong, I love like watching it like you did, you know, kind of looking into deeper things and finding it. That's what's so cool about rewatches. I think for me, this watch was like one of those like sitting with the movie and letting the movie steer me to where it's going. And I really recommend it. If you haven't seen It Follows, definitely do that. Like sit with all the lights off, nothing going on, put away the phone and just focus, because this is one you have to really focus on, I think, to really dive into all the horror that it's bringing.
Yeah,
you know,
if you get a friend who likes to talk through movies, kick them out of the house.
Yeah. Including me,
I know.
because I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
This is not one to watch with me. But this is one, actually, this is a good one to watch alone, I think. And because you do feel some of that isolation and you do have questions that are going through your head a little bit. And it's cool, like being by yourself, sitting with that horror. Just a little backstory too. I had a similar viewing experience when I watched the first Strangers movie. Sitting with that alone kind of had some of the same thing as sitting with this movie alone and in the dark watching it and things like that. I think that one's a more straightforward movie, whereas this one definitely, like you said, has more metaphors and things and deeper meanings. But I enjoyed it doing that way. I also did it with Hereditary like that, but Hereditary for me is like a whole other like
I watched Hereditary alone too. Yeah. That's
brave soul.
Yeah, I mean, although, you know, this movie is a little bit like Hereditary in that way, with the metaphors and the symbolism and the hidden stuff throughout for you to pick apart and find. So
that's right. Yeah.
Hereditary though is very heavy. This didn't feel as heavy as Hereditary. Like, you know,
there's no piano wire scene in this. That's true.
For me, this felt like a better watch than Hereditary. I know like a lot of people love it and that's cool. Like, but for me, it's a hard watch, whereas this wasn't as hard. I liked the ride it took me on, and I put myself in the shoes of the characters, what they were going through. So it's cool. I enjoyed it a lot. Jill, how about you? How many times have you seen It Follows? Do you watch it a lot, or?
This might have been my third time, but I kind of just wanted to brush up on what you just said. about watching it alone or watching it with another person. This watch, I watched it alone, but the first watch, a friend showed it to me. And the first time that I saw Hereditary, a friend showed it to me. And in each watch, each friend was like pointing out things in either It Follows in the background, like someone walking in the back, or in Hereditary, they would be pointing out things like in the shadows. And so you're right, they are very similar in that way. And I can't really think of any other horror movies that really capitalize on that feature.
The Exorcist, but I know neither of you really likes that much, so.
Don't out us like that. We're gonna get shreds on the internet.
They're gonna follow us, Nathan.
They're gonna follow us. But yeah, I watched this alone, and the first time that I watched this too, I didn't really know what I was getting into, and so I just thought, I kind of took it at face value and saw it as a movie that's kind of like Smile, which we talked about a little bit. How something passes on to something else, and that kind of like contagious movie. But this time I really saw it from like a trauma kind of lens and like sexual abuse. And so it was a lot heavier this time around, and honestly a lot sadder, just like thinking about all of that. When the first time I watched it, I remember it being really scary. And this time it's more sad and just like has this like grave tone to it. Should we talk about the themes? Should we open that can of worms right now, or?
Yeah, let's open it back. You had touched on, like, you got themes of like sexual abuse and things like that, right?
When you think about like people who are abusers, it's very likely that they were abused as well. It's kind of a vicious cycle. And you can kind of see that with Hugh or Jeff or whatever his name is. He has that girl following him. So maybe he was abused. I don't know. And then he passes it on to Jay. And it's not something she can see. Like, she can't see the people following him. When she experiences it, when he passes it on, she can see her own trauma. So you can totally look at it through that lens of,
for sure.
Yeah, no one can really see what the monster is until they go through that trauma. And then also there's the fact of that trauma will either eat you alive, like the opening shot when that girl is like running away from it. And then we see her kind of succumb to it on the beach.
Know that I love you, okay? I just really love you both.
It's a great opening, by the way.
Great opening with the bent leg and the heel.
Ugh.
I love it.
That opening
Gives
was
you
like
the
a perfect
stakes
way
right
to
away.
start the movie, right?
Yeah, it's so ugly, it's so wrong. But yeah, you either succumb to it and you let it eat you alive, or you can pass it on to someone else. But there's also like a moral dilemma that Jay faces a lot of the times where she's like, I don't know if I should pass it on to someone else or not. Like, I have to in order to deal with this burden, but at the same time, she doesn't want that guilt on her conscience. So I think at the end, what I got from it on this watch at least was like she tried to share it with Paul, and they kind of like, she passes it on to him. And then like with the ending where you see someone like walking behind them, I feel like you can either take it as, okay, it's still going to follow them for the rest of their lives, but they're going to deal with it together. That's what I got from it. What did you guys think of that?
Nathan, what'd you get out of it?
Originally, I was like, is this about STDs?
That's what I thought too the first time.
You know, and it's like, that seems a little sort of shallow for everything they're sort of doing. And then I thought, well, maybe it's about the shame that people put on, especially young women, when they've had sex. It wasn't till this viewing and then also watching a few YouTube videos about the movie that I got sort of this idea that it was actually about sexual abuse. And I think that's actually the most compelling one. It fits the best, and it's also the most interesting. Whether any of it's true, I don't know. That's the wonderful thing about metaphors, is like you can get what you want to out of a movie. I guess you'd call it because it's the name of the movie It Follows. The fact that it takes the form of people, strangers as well as people you know, to me makes me think that it's still about shame and the way that we blame and shame abuse victims often in society. One of the lines that really sort of cements that to me is Hugh says it, or Jeff, he's an asshole. I don't like him. So whichever name, we'll call him Joe.
He doesn't get a name.
Yeah. He says, sometimes I think it manifests as people you love just to hurt you. That really cements to me that it is sort of a representative of the shame that society sometimes thrusts onto abuse victims. Because if it's your dad or your uncle or whatever, that makes it worse.
You were just talking about like the shame and like the dad. When she's seeing the dad at the pool and they ask what she's seeing, she doesn't tell them either.
She doesn't tell them.
She's still ashamed. She's like, I don't want to tell you.
Jay, what do you see? I don't want to tell you.
And that's something you have to discover as the audience too. If you didn't pay attention to those family photos, you do not know that is his dad, or if that is Jay's dad that he's manifesting as, or it's manifesting as.
I was also wondering too, like with him throwing the electronics into the pool, if that was also supposed to be like a representation of like domestic abuse as well as sexual abuse.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, that would make some sense.
I was thinking that had to do with like what Hugh had said at the beginning about them being slow, but very
Not
smart.
stupid. Yeah.
It's very slow, but it's not done.
That's what I was thinking. Like it had known they were setting up this trap, but I like what you're saying too. Like that it's kind of carrying that domestic abuse angle into it as well. Like
also, the naked man on the roof is actually your grandfather too.
What?
Yeah. I saw that. That's not something I discovered for myself. That came from a YouTube video, but it was like they proved it with the family photo and the picture. Yeah, the naked man on the roof as they're leaving to go to the pool is her grandfather.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what?
Creepy as shit.
Yeah.
I have another one question for you too. At one scene, there's like a little demon boy who comes through that door. Is he also the same kid who's seen in a bike coming up to their house?
Maybe. That is something that this movie would certainly do.
I didn't rewatch it to like try to piece it together, but I just thought in the moment, I'm like, this little boy looks familiar. Like he looks like that demon kid that was like going through the door.
Is it one of the kids who was like looking at her when she was in the pool as well in the beginning?
Oh yeah, I think
believe
it
the
is.
kid on the bike is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be. I would have to. I will find out in editing. I assure you.
Perfect.
I think the popular theme that everyone kind of talks about with It Follows is the STD and sexually transmitted disease theme. So like that was always on my mind, but I like what you're saying more on the sexual abuse. I think that makes more sense as to what's really going on. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you have an STD and you pass it on to somebody else, you still have an STD. So it's, whereas this, it's sort of like you pass it on and now it's not following you anymore. You can see it, but it's not coming for you. So,
right.
I mean, herpes doesn't stop because you passed it on to somebody else. So,
well, this kind of like was coming up the idea though. It's not really stopping either, even if you pass it on to.
Right.
Another point of symbolism is, especially with all of Yara's readings and like little narratives she has.
Clamshell thing.
I fucking love the clamshell e-reader, by the way. It's so nice.
Exist. I looked it up.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah, I thought it was made up for this.
But another point of symbolism is that when there's life, there's always death.
You will no longer be a person.
And that this is certain. The worst thing is that it is certain.
So death is always looming over you.
Right.
If there is life, there's going to be death. A dichotomy. So I think you can find threads of that throughout it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
The Reaper is always coming for you no matter what you do. So is the Tax Man, but that's not a cool tattoo.
Death
You
and
can move out of
taxes.
the country, tax man will still come for you. But anyway,
You know what? I picked up a real underlying tone of actually like loss of innocence a little bit in this movie as well. And I got it from Jay and Paul were talking about when they were younger, they found like a stack of pornography.
We were such stupid kids.
Ridiculous. I didn't even realize how bad it was.
Oh, and Greg's mom. Remember her face when she came out and saw us reading that shit?
Kelly and I got the sex ed talk the next day.
And they were kind of
Yeah.
laughing at it and things like
Right.
that. And now it's like, now they're experiencing it, like they're having sex, things like that. And it's like,
Right.
you can try to put it off and run away from it, try to escape it. But, you know, loss of innocence kind of comes for everybody in a way. Like you're not
yeah.
like childlike throughout your life. I don't know. I was thinking too, like
Yeah.
with a lot of the people they saw, the demons were all kind of like naked or like some sort of weird weird stuff going on.
The beginning scene with Hugh in the theater sort of plays on that too a little bit, where they're playing the what is it called? Trading Places, I think they called the game.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
like, I would trade places with him. And she goes, oh, the dad? And he goes, no, the kid.
Oh, the son. I mean, how cool would that be to have your whole life out of you, you know?
Yeah.
And my first thought was, I don't like this guy anymore. I immediately do not like. Why do you want to go back to childhood, asshole? Is it like something fucking wrong with you? But the idea of going back because he's afraid of going into adulthood, you know, it's sort of the same theme that you were talking about there. With the loss of innocence coming, whether you're afraid of it or whatever, you're going to get older. Time will always go forward.
Yeah, that's
So,
definitely there. In the beginning, there's like this, it's such like a lazy kind of atmosphere. Like they're just kind of young kids, but old enough where life is starting for them. But they're just sitting around playing cards. Like nothing is very serious until
Yeah.
all this stuff starts happening, and then things do become serious. But I kind of like that kind of tone where it's just like anything can happen.
Right.
They have all the time in the world. Basically, they're young.
anything can happen, but nothing's happening. They're watching old movies and, like you said, playing cards. And
Yeah.
Yara's reading off her awesome clamshell thing, reading morbid poetry. You know? All of that has got to mean something.
I thought she was reading smut for a second.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all that age at one point, like, you know, in your young 20s when life has so much potential. Now we're older, and I don't know, we don't have that time to just like sit around and do nothing. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
life will never be the same for us, the same as that guy, Jeff, Hugh, whatever, is thinking about switching places with the kid because he longs for a time that was easier. So yeah, it's interesting.
Before it was following him.
Yeah.
I got a big question. Were
Uh-huh.
you both thinking like I was a little bit throughout this? If you were in this situation, what do you do? How do you escape this demon?
There's certain clubs you could go to where it'd be 12 steps away from you by the end of the weekend, you know?
Like you're saying like full on like gang bang, like
Just go to certain clubs and
That should be the sequel. It follows too.
yeah. I believe there's working on a sequel, actually.
No,
Yeah.
I don't want there to be a sequel.
I heard that too. I don't know.
I
I
would
think with
I'm sorry.
I believe it's the same director, though. You know, if somebody's going to do a
Hopefully.
sequel, you want it to be.
David Robert Mitchell.
Yeah, exactly.
I was thinking like, you know, full on like gang bang too, you know, just
Yeah.
whatever happens, you know, but
12
then
steps away by the end of the weekend, you know.
But here's the problem, and here's why Q chloroformed Jay and explained everything to her.
Somebody gave it to me, and I passed it to you. Back in the car.
Because he knew that sooner or later the thing would come for her, and if he didn't explain things, it would kill her and then go back to him.
Dude, that scene, can we talk about that scene?
Yes.
Oh my God, because it kind of gives me chills thinking about it.
It's so creepy.
It is so creepy. She's just there having her cute little monologue about like her dream date, and then she gets fucking chloroformed out of nowhere.
Now that we're holding up, the hell do we go?
And that's just like so on point with, you know, the themes of sexual assault is when you least expect it, when you let your guard down and trust someone, they do that to you. And then, oh God, it's so awful.
It's a really hard to watch scene. Especially the first time I watched it, when I didn't know how this was going to end, I was like, what did I get myself into? I was almost thinking like, is this another I Spit on Your Grave situation?
Oh no.
Because first time I saw I Spit on Your Grave, it's because Kevin picked it at Blockbuster. We had absolutely no idea what it was. And then it happened. And I was like, is this another one of those? And thankfully it wasn't. But I will say, though, Hugh Jeff is not that fucking smart, because if you're in that situation, you should not chloroform that person. You need that person to be as able-bodied as humanly possible after you've passed it on to them.
That's true. He went all like rapey rape like right away.
Yeah, it was as Jill said, it does fit with that theme that we were talking about of the cycle of abuse and all that. That because he's like, at one point he says, "I'm not going to hurt you."
I'm not going to hurt you.
And I'm sitting there like, my dude, I think you already did.
Yeah.
Like, she's like going to be in a position where she doesn't trust anybody else ever again for a long time, at least. I mean, at least not without therapy. And that was a tough scene.
See, I forgot what was going to happen, and I really thought he was going to be like, I'm not going to hurt you, but somebody else is, and you're, I'm feeding you to this thing, goodbye sort of deal. But
right,
I don't know, that would have made him even worse of a person. Not that he can get pretty worse, I guess.
I'm shitting on the guy because I don't like him, and for good reason. But at the same time, somebody sort of did the same thing to him at some point. So it's, he's part of a cycle, and I still hate him. I'm not going back on that, but I just wanted to put that out there, that he is a part of a cycle. Somebody did that to somebody did that to her.
Right.
Back further till who knows how this thing actually
unless you kill yourself or whatever, and then like, I don't know. And
but then it's just going to go back to the next person, right?
I know that these are like terrible scenes playing out, but like the scenery itself, I liked a lot. I like that urban decay building and the way this old shitty car was in the middle of a, kind of rundown field. I liked all that.
The cinematography is amazing in this movie. I totally agree.
Him tying her up to that old shitty wheelchair. I mean, it was like very creepy in this abandoned building.
It's iconic. Like I feel like that's the scene I always think of when I think of It Follows. It's either the theater, it's the parking garage. There's always there's so many memorable scenes, I feel like, and it has to do with the set and the setting, and it's very unique.
One of my favorite scenes I felt like was a pretty big homage to Halloween, the original, when she's in class and she looks outside and sees that older person coming towards her.
Oh, that's good.
And there's even a scene where that demon's in the hall and she's looking back, and the music, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a minute, kind of picks up and ramps up a little bit, kind of like the Carpenter score. You
Yeah.
know, it's like the chase is on sort of deal. And I love that, because I think what this movie does so well is the tension building. That's this movie. It doesn't have a lot of
Yeah.
gore, doesn't have, you know, over the top killer scenes really or anything like that.
Right. I mean, it has a little bit, and it is effective when it does it.
Yeah.
But you're right. The escalating paranoia is really the big thing that makes this movie feel the way it does.
100%.
Like,
even for the viewer, though, like that's the thing. It's like
because you're
escalating
constantly
paranoia.
looking into the background, like
Yes.
which one of those, which one of them is it?
Shadows.
So.
Another Michael Myers kind of scene is when she's in her house, and I'm looking behind her in her doorway, and she has that shadow, and I'm expecting something to come out because we've seen it. But instead, she turns around and there's that entity in front of her. It's really good use of, like you said, where is this coming from?
And again, if you go back to the theme, you know, if you've been abused, you're going to be paranoid. You're not going to trust anything around you. You're always going to be looking for something bad to happen.
Yeah.
So it all comes together, man.
Yeah, it's pretty masterfully done. It's really damn good.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Speaking of really good, the music, like we said, is really, really good. I mean, I think what's impressive about this movie to me is it has really good music, but it knows when to not use music too.
Right.
You know, it makes you sit in some scenes with nothing there.
It's a very quiet movie overall. And the quietness is often unnerving. Even in scenes where like there's nothing scary happening, even before we meet Hugh, there's this weird unnerving feeling about when they're all gathered in the living room watching that old movie.
Rate of an overload. You can't tap enough electricity wherever you get it from to control
Something about it, it's like it's just not quite right. You know, and I can't put my finger on why I feel that way about it, but you know, it works.
So what'd you think of the music? Did you like, because it felt kind of, there was some synthy stuff, right, Nathan, throughout?
It was all synth.
Yeah.
100% of it was synth.
We love ourselves some synth.
Yeah.
It was a damn vibe. That's all I could say about it. And also, I think the music really goes with the fact that the time, like the temporal setting, is very ambiguous, because you got the Shell e-reader, which is kind of futuristic, like nothing exists like it, but you have like all this old analog technology,
CRT TVs,
especially in the scene with the pool. They have all this old stuff they're throwing into the pool. The hairdryer, typewriter.
Yeah, and the cars are all from like the 90s and the 80s. So there really is no, you're right. There really is no, like when is this movie set?
Exactly. There's no like phones, like they don't use like cell phones, I don't think.
Never. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
it's
don't
like
know.
set out of time in a way.
It's a timeless tale.
It's good though. It simplifies things a little bit, because then in all horror that's kind of set in the modern era, like you have to explain away cell phones somehow and technology somehow, you know?
Yeah, there's always no signal. So you're like, we ended up in a place with no cell phone signal.
Right.
True.
My phone died. I haven't charged it, you know.
Well, so like we touched on like a sequel idea. What I really hope they don't have is a sequel that does kind of dive more into like what's going on and like maybe looking up, Googling the information, stuff like that, because then maybe that takes away from all of our interpretations, no?
I like that too. Like when they need to find out who Hugh is, they have to go to the high school based on like the picture.
Yeah.
It's like kind of old school.
They pull out an actual yearbook. They don't go on Facebook to find him.
Yeah.
Because if you had Google, you could find them in 2 seconds.
The sequel is called They Follow, and it's directed by David Robert Mitchell, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So
Nice. Okay.
I would assume that he would know how to
They Them
continue
Follow
this story.
is the next one.
I didn't know what to make of Greg.
He was hot.
Not what I was looking
course.
for, but I'll accept it.
Of course.
I was kind of into him as like this martyr character who he was kind of an idiot because he doesn't believe her.
Something happened, but it's not what she thinks, okay?
Going back to like the victim shaming, victim blaming, and like not
Right.
believing in someone, I didn't like that about him. Like he would not believe her, and then it ends up in his own demise. And his death is pretty brutal, by the way, like disgusting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
it took the form of his mom before doing that.
What the fuck, Mom?
And that was a visceral scene too, by the
He
way.
got fucked to death by a demon that took the form of his mom.
I
What
mean,
the
that
hell, right?
doesn't that feed into like what you're both saying about sexual abuse, like pretty
Oh, yeah.
literally, right?
Yeah.
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 But I liked his character. I like that he was like always willing to volunteer his car, or he didn't really believe what was going on, but he was willing to help out anyways.
Okay, but isn't that kind of because he wants to get into Jay's pants?
Well, that's what
Yeah,
I was thinking too.
but-
Yeah.
I don't know. If I were Jay, I would have done the same thing. I would have let him into my pants. So I'm just a woman.
I mean, I was thinking that too. Like he seemed like, okay, you don't believe her. Because if you believe her, right, wouldn't you be like, whoa, maybe
Not at his age, I wouldn't have been. No.
no.
Nowadays, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'm not putting that risk. No way.
Yeah,
But,
fuck
Right.
that.
But when I was a
Right.
teenager, don't care, had sex.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Bring
And
on
Paul.
the demons.
Paul
Yeah.
at the beginning, he sees her toes in that scene. There's a lot of sexual tension with the toes.
I
Paul's
don't-
a feet
the
guy.
toes.
So in the beginning, when he stays over all night and she goes downstairs, this is before the it gets into the house.
Oh well, yeah.
She's sitting there with her like feet out, and she's like her toes are there. And I feel like the camera pans to it for a while. Like, you can feel their
Okay.
sexual tension.
It's a little bit Tarantino-esque there.
Oh, here we go with the fucking Tarantino and the feet. Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean,
I kind of felt like all these kids wanted to fuck each other kind of all the time.
And that's what it's like being
a
kid.
teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
yeah.
I was the same thing. Like, it's probably the same thing in like your guys' friend group. Everyone's fucking
Yeah.
cross
the way-
fucking.
well, that's the way it works. Because didn't Paul say, or Jay said something about Paul kissing her sister, right?
You kissed two sisters, that's kind of gross.
Little timid Paul, hooking up with two sisters. He should have owned that shit.
Yeah.
Michael Sarah character.
I know.
Yeah.
He did.
Okay. What did you think of Paul? I kind of liked him, but I also didn't like him.
Yeah, he was kind of
There
a
was
pussy.
there was like almost like an incel energy to him, but like a less harmful feeling sort of vibe of that. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
Yeah.
this is why I understand why women hate men sometimes, is this character here. Because
Okay.
I couldn't stand the scene where, and I know I've been guilty of like some jealousy too in my lifetime, but
Yeah.
when he's like, why did you hook up with me? Why did you pick Greg?
I liked you too. Why'd you pick Greg?
Are you an idiot, dude?
Yeah.
Like, are you an idiot?
Yeah, but he was also a teenager.
I know, but
I get you.
there's more going on here than just like simple, like, you chose him over me, like dick size contest here. Like, this is not a dick size contest. There's,
Right.
You
There's actual stakes here.
yes, exactly. Like, don't bring that bullshit into here. And I know they're kids and stuff, but like,
Yeah.
this is
I guess
why I
it.
get women that don't like men. I totally get it.
I guess I'd say I had mixed feelings about Paul because I think he had decent intentions most of the time. It's just that he's also kind of a whiny little bitch a little bit. So I don't know. Paul also touches Jeff's cum rags there in that house, by the way. Just putting that out there. I see tissues near porno mags. I'm not touching them.
Yeah, don't touch him.
I got a question for you. Do you think Hugh was trying to like jerk off his own like demon out of him? Like, do you think like it was in his head that?
Kevin.
Well, no. He's not. He's jerking himself off so he can release the demon without.
Is he trying to pass it to the floor?
I think he was just jerking off, my dude. But...
like to the magazine. Well, okay, so I have a deeper question too.
Okay.
Now, how do you pass
a deeper question than that?
That's what she said.
How do you pass this demon? Like, do you have to finish inside somebody? Like, how does this work?
It never went into that.
Like, what happens if you can't finish? Then, like, it stays with you?
I don't know what to tell you, Kevin. It never went into detail about that. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh,
Something fucking wrong with you.
That was special.
Like, does it have to be like regular sex? Like,
I would.
Guy on girl, or can it be guy on guy or girl on girl? Or
I would assume gay sex would still pass.
Like
it on.
sodomy would be everything.
I don't.
Does oral sex count?
Maybe.
It never goes into detail about any of this, Kevin.
These are the questions I have. Another question I have is the ending. What did you think of the ending? Because it is pretty left open to interpretation, right? Like, what's going to happen here?
I will say the pool scene didn't work for me very much at all. I didn't really like that. It felt very Are You Afraid of the Dark to me. Except if it was Are You Afraid of the Dark, the scheme with the electrocution would have worked. So
yeah.
And then the way they get rid of the demon there is to just shoot it, which also seems a little like basic, I guess you'd say. Like, couldn't you have shot the demon halfway through the movie when you just got the gun? I don't know.
They did shoot the demon on the beach there earlier in the movie, but then they kept trying to do it. Like, you're not learning from what happened earlier.
And as far as it being open to interpretation, Jay and Paul are walking down the street holding hands because now they think they're going to live happily ever after. But there's somebody walking behind them who just sort of shows up out of nowhere because there's a shot without that person and then followed by a shot with them. But there's no way to know if that is the demon or if it's just some random person. Mm-hmm. Which, again,
Michael
is sort of the genius of this movie. Yeah, Michael Myers could be there.
This was Haddonfield.
It did look a little bit like Haddonfield in that scene.
Yeah, I like those street scenes a lot. Those are done really well. Jill, what about you? What did you think of the ending with the pool scene and then into, the ending walk with Jay and Paul?
God, I'm going to beat this horse to death.
No, keep...
beat it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where the depth in this movie is what you're talking about, I think. So
True. The pool scene for me was basically, this is Jay kind of facing her fears, facing her trauma, and she's able to mostly defeat it. But the thing with trauma is that yeah, you can like deal with it, but it's never going to go away very neatly. It's always going to be there. Right. It's always something you have to deal with, even if you can deal with it better than you have. And I think that's why the ending shot is so significant, because she has a partner to share this burden with now. They share this burden together, but it's still looming in the background. It's always going to be there. Maybe it's not a threat at the moment, but it's always lurking. And I like that. I think that's pretty like real.
There's no happy endings here.
I mean, it's as happy as it can get. I think, it's realistic. Like in real life, you can, try to face your traumas and mostly get over it. But it's what my therapist always said. It's never going to go away. It's always going to be a part of you. So that's the happy part, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, being able to live your life and not be killed by the demon. It's not happy, but it's
as good as it gets.
Yeah. And if the demon is representative of trauma, then that fits perfectly. Something that happened in your past happened. You can't unhappen it. It's
that radical acceptance. You have to accept things for the way they are.
Acceptance is hard.
And I think that poem that Yara reads from her clamshell while she's in the hospital because a certain dumbass shot her. Muzzle discipline. Just saying. I'm not a gun owner. I'm not an expert, but even I know the term muzzle discipline. You just, don't pull the trigger if somebody you love is in front of the barrel.
Yeah.
But I didn't write down the whole poem, but it's like,
When there's torture, there's pain and wounds, physical agony, and all this distracts the mind from mental suffering so that one is tormented by the wounds until the moment of death.
That, you know what, though? That's a powerful thing, though, in this movie, too, which is kind of a horror because, like, they're kind of stuck in the idea that they're going to die. Like, they're all the time they're in that frame of mind. Like, as humans, like, we know we're not immortal, but, like, most of us aren't stuck in that frame of mind all the time. In this movie, they are.
I think the whole movie, too, is kind of bookended by Yara reading, I think it's The Idiot by Dostoevsky. So it's like very existential like shit. The first part when they're outside playing cards, she says,
I think that if one is faced with inevitable destruction, if a house is falling upon you, for instance, one must feel a great longing to sit down, close one's eyes, and wait. Come what may.
And that's what we see happen at the beginning of the movie with the girl who just, gives up and dies. So these are Jay's choices. She can just give up and die, or she can do what the second quote is talking about. Like, life is full of pain, like physical agony, mental suffering. And that's what life is, like knowing that at some point your life is going to leave your body and you will no longer be a person. So it's a lot to accept. And I really like that Yara's character is just like spouting off all this wisdom that is, it's a really good illusion. And it is kind of telling you what their options are.
It also feels like she doesn't quite understand.
She's just reading it on her shell phone, man.
Her shell phone. I like that. But it's almost like she wants to understand, and that's why she's reading it out loud. And then her friends are just like, yeah, okay, you read that.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like she's looking for input, and
everyone's just like, cool beans.
Because she finds it interesting, and
Yeah, so. It's for the reader. It's like a little Easter egg.
Yeah, but it's not jammed down your throat. Like, I like how it's done.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all these like metaphors and meanings and whatnot. Nothing, all of that. It's a good horror movie on top of that. Yeah. Like, if none of that matters if the movie isn't a good movie to watch, isn't enjoyable to watch. And
yeah, for sure. I think it's done really well, and it's definitely scary, I think. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
She's got an X tattooed on her finger. Anybody got any idea what that's about?
Yeah, I saw that too.
Is it on her finger the whole movie? I feel like I didn't see it at the beginning.
I just saw it in one scene. Maybe that was like Hugh's middle name or something. Xavier.
I don't know. They focus. The thing that made me want to write that down is that like the camera focuses in on it like as a close-up shortly after Hugh dumps her in front of her house. I almost said drops her off, and it's like that's not the right word.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the camera makes a point of focusing in on it.
Are you insinuating that after she gets assaulted or whatever is when she is like marked from now on, or like forever kind of changed or altered?
I wasn't insinuating anything. I was wondering what everybody else had to say about it, because I was confused more than anything.
Maybe
I knew. I'm just saying it's important. I don't know why.
Maybe she's straight edge.
But isn't that more like on the? It's been a while since this has been, but it's on your.
I mean, you could have X's wherever. Right? Yeah.
No idea.
But isn't the straight edge specifically the back of your hand?
Yeah, it is. Kevin knows he's straight edge.
I'm as close to straight edge as
actually. You.
you know, but
I like what you said.
wasn't
Jill,
always
though.
that way, but you know.
No, I like what you said. I think that makes sense. Like it's showing that she's marked forever after this experience with,
Right.
this symbolism of the tattoo. I like that.
Oh my God. Can we also talk about like how horrific, because we talked about how horrific the car scene was at the parking garage. But when he just like dumps her and she still like has handcuffs on in the street.
Don't let it touch you.
What the fuck?
That's so gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, it's super traumatizing.
Hugh is not my favorite character in this movie.
No, he's a huge
God.
prick.
Huge. See what you did there?
Yeah.
He's huge.
Didn't mean to, but
No pun intended.
I also read apparently you can't get out of this by just moving to Europe.
Oh, I was wondering if you could go on a plane.
I didn't think that this mattered that much because it's like you're supposed to think of it more metaphorically than the actual practicality. But
But what would happen?
apparently, according to the director, the demon will get on a plane and come after you. I'm not kidding. He said that in an interview.
All right.
This brings me to a question I have. There's one scene where she sees a couple dudes on a boat.
Yeah.
Did she
I don't
fuck
know.
those dudes?
Oh.
No, she couldn't have fucked those dudes. But go ahead, Jill.
I was reading something on Reddit about like all the Freudian kind of stuff going on in this movie, and there is a lot of Freudian stuff going on with like the dad and the mom, and but also how the three guys on like the boat represented like the ego, and like how water is used all throughout the movie, and like each sort of thing represents something. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'll never be able to spit it out the same way these people put it together. There is a Reddit post on it if you're interested. But I think seeing the three dudes on the boat is like her struggling with the moral decision of should I it would be easy for her to pass it on to these three dudes and then go back home and kind of have this peace of mind.
Yeah.
But and it's kind of up to the viewer to decide if you think she did it or not. I don't think she does, because it comes again after her pretty quickly.
It comes way too quickly for me to come to the conclusion that she did it.
Yeah. So I think it's supposed to show us that she is, above that, above like sacrificing these strangers.
Right.
And that's why she doesn't do it. And instead she kind of chooses people she knows, and they like consensually agree on it.
Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah.
The reason I was thinking that is because, like you were saying, like if they go overseas, and I was thinking, well, if you're on a boat, can the demon would it be like in a violent nature wise, where the demon
I'm on a boat.
Where he walks on the bottom of the ocean?
It just comes up.
That'd be cool.
I mean, if the directors, I think the director honestly was just annoyed at the question. Like, you're not getting it. This practicality discussion is actually just kind of, it's not what the movie is about. But if the demon can board a plane, it can get onto that fucking boat somehow.
All right. Well, if the demon can board a plane, how come the demon wasn't driving a car?
He was doing really well last night. Somebody must have taught him.
For God's sakes, he can't drive a car. He was doing very well last night.
Someone around here was giving him lessons. Oh my God.
Oh my God. There's something so eerie though. Like, even metaphors aside, I think the demons are very scary. Just how slowly they move. The scene where she watches the demon entering Greg's house, smashing the window, and she still isn't able to stop it before he dies. But like, God, it's so creepy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. This movie, it does a really, really good job. Some of the demon manifestations are attractive naked people, and they still scare you. You know what I'm saying? Like the way, something about I mean, David Lynch does this in God damn it, I mentioned him. He does this in Inland Empire. Things coming at the camera.
Yeah.
It makes you uncomfortable, you know, and they do it really well in this movie. And like, they'll even do it with a wide shot and it's still scary. Like it's, you know, this tiny little far away person on the screen, but it's walking towards you, and that is intimidating and weird and scary. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah.
It's like the inevitable, slow, methodical, but it's coming no matter what you do. So
yeah, it's not coming here fast, but it is on its way and it can't be stopped.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Yeah. That's, I guess in a way that could be, the demon could just be a metaphor for death itself.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
I mean, we're all going to die someday.
No, totally. I think that's very much in here, as much as everything else. Like death comes for us all, and it's always lurking. I think that's there. Also, I just wanted to say that when they're at the beach and they're in the building, when the demon gets like really freaking big, like what the hell is that? That is so scary.
That's the second time it manifested as that too, actually, because the first time it's this big dude. It manifested that as that dude behind Yara in Jay's house. In this right after the pissing chick with the one tit out.
I didn't like that guy. That guy was so scary to me, like very lurchy.
Freaky as hell. Yeah.
I thought you like lurchy.
Well, doesn't that mean you should be attracted to him?
Yeah, like a little bit. Yeah.
That's why it was scary.
I was aroused and scared at the same time.
Scare-roused?
Yeah, scare-roused.
That's the best kind.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm on a list somewhere.
Are you ready for quote or kill?
Yeah.
It's quote or kill. I feel like I should have my own like little like game show microphone.
Yeah.
We're going to give you our favorite quote of the movie or our favorite kill of the movie or both. I don't have a quote, but my favorite kill of this movie is the girl that's dead on the beach at the opening of this movie.
That's mine as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
That one.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, all three.
We're done.
Yeah.
I thought this was very Jaws like, you know, to start the movie off.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
You know, start it with that bang. Get us intrigued. What's going on here? And of course, just the way her thing was contorted and
I think it's incredibly important. We just talked about how scary the demon is when it's walking at the camera. But would that be as scary as it is if we hadn't already seen the consequences of the demon catching you?
Yeah.
You know, is the question, you know.
And there's not a whole lot of that in this movie, though. Like, and maybe, I don't know if I wanted more. Like, a part of me wanted to see maybe a little bit more, like, what this thing can do, like, off a couple of the other friends off. Like, you know?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. The problem is that the concept of the movie would require her to start banging everybody to get that done. So, you know, no judgment or anything. I'm just saying it wouldn't have necessarily worked for the tone of the movie. You know?
Yeah. After I saw that like really detailed, explicit scene with Greg and the demon as his bomb, I was good. I was like, you know what?
Yeah. No,
I'm done.
You've had
that's
enough.
scary enough.
Yeah.
Like his
Tapping
face is white afterwards because like it,
Jeez.
And liquidy.
Poor bastard.
Jill, do you have a quote for this movie at all that you like?
Yeah, but we kind of already talked about him, like all the stuff that Yara's reading from the shell phone. All of that. Love that. Num, num, num.
Right.
Nathan, do you have a quote that you like?
Piggybacking off of what Jill said, Yara reading off of her shell phone. This is just kind of a funny little line.
What are you reading? The Idiot? Is it any good?
I don't know yet. It's about Paul.
I don't know yet. It's about Paul. I just thought that was funny. It's
Little dry
just one of
joke.
those. Yeah, just one
Paul
of those
deserved
little
it.
jabs that, friends throw at each other. That one felt pretty classic to me.
It's time for our final rating. We're going to rate this movie from 1 to 5 stars. 5 is sex on the hospital bed. 1 is sex in the back of that car.
What's wrong with sex in the back of the car?
Very cramped, uncomfortable.
Okay.
Not enough room to spread out. Really get in there.
Yeah, damn.
I'm going to give It Follows 4.5 stars. I think that this is an awesome, awesome movie. I think it is a must see if you haven't seen it. Again, I recommend lights off, watch this, get submerged in the atmosphere and the tension. Because I think what this movie does really great for a horror movie is builds tension throughout. Did I want to see a little bit more payoffs and more horror? Maybe. I'm kind of nitpicking things I really don't like. I think the reason why this isn't a 5-star for me is just because of the rewatchability a little bit. It is a slow, methodical movie, which is not a bad thing at all, but I think it's just tough on like a rewatch because I want to be paying attention to this one so I can really enjoy everything. And I think that's important. It's not a movie you can just pop on the background and really get the full potential out of. I thought it was really good. I thought, something we didn't touch on, the acting I thought was really well on all of them too, because they seemed just like normal kids. And there was no like over the topness about it either. They weren't acting to act. And the scariness wasn't overdone either, where like they, freaking out scenes and everything, which was
there was one jump scare in the whole movie.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. This is one of my favorite like newer horror movies. I'm interested in seeing a sequel and seeing what it will be like. All right, Nathan, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I like it a lot. Like I said, I used to think that it was like a masterpiece, and then this rewatch, I was kind of like, it's still really, really good. I do think it's a little on the slow side, and I didn't like the pool scene much at all. There, like I said before, there's a lot to sink your teeth into in this movie, and which is something I always love. And there's a lot of rising tension and paranoia, which I always love that as well. I do like that it turns the final girl trope on its head a little bit, in that she is the only one who really has any sex in the movie, whereas often the final girl is the virginal one, and women are often punished for having sex in horror movies. I do think the characters could have used a little more flavor. Yeah. Like they're a little
bland.
At the same time, a little bland, but at the same time, they do feel like normal teenagers who are just kind of bored. Right. So go back and forth on that a little bit. But yeah, no, it's a great movie. I highly recommend it to everyone. I'm giving it 4 stars.
Jill, how about you? Finish us up.
Fuck it. I'm going to give it 5 stars because I have no reason not to. Like, I have nothing bad to say about it. I like the music. I like the setting. I like the characters, the acting, all the themes, like everything in it is, I don't know, every time I've watched it, I've come away with something new and like a different perspective on it. And honestly, I think I could go back again, watch it another time and still come out of it seeing something different. It's kind of a fun one to put on with someone who hasn't seen it before. I don't know. It's a great discussion starter. 5 stars from me. It's a banger.
A certified Jill banger. Oh man, before we end the episode, we want to let you all know what we've been up to lately, what we've been watching, reading, gaming, or listening to. I just went and saw Clown in a Cornfield this past week in the theater. Pretty good movie. I was a big fan of the book, which I had just read earlier this year, so I was really kind of looking forward to this the movie. The trailer, which we reviewed on our channel, looked pretty cool. Like, it looked fun and entertaining, and that's what this movie was. It was fun and entertaining, and I think that's what's great about it. It's a perfect watch for like a theater experience. Like, go get some popcorn, be scared. I've seen people kind of tearing it down a little bit for being a basic slasher, and I get that, but it's like, not every movie can have, I think, a twist and something crazy. And speaking of a twist, I've heard people who aren't really happy what's the perceived twist at the end of this movie too.
Yeah.
And I knew that was going to come when I read the book. Like, I wonder how this is going to play out for people. I thought overall it was really good. And what I really liked about it is it's really set for the youth and directed at the youth a little bit. And that's cool. Like, I can imagine being young and seeing this. I took my son, who is a teenager, and he really enjoyed it and liked it for what it was, because it was directed more at his age and things like that. But again, it was a really fun time. You get clowns with crazy weaponry in a cornfield. What's not to love, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Nathan and I recently did a review on the Bunnyman Massacre.
Why are we talking about the Bunnyman Massacre?
Well, we're talking about Nathan because I decided that I had to watch the full trilogy of these movies.
Right. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
Why
I
would
went
you
back
do that?
and I watched The Bunnyman from 2011. And I also watched Bunnyman Vengeance, which is the third one. Yeah, these were all pretty rough. I'm not going to lie.
I am shocked.
The movie with the Easter Bunny costume, the chainsaw is pretty rough.
Yeah, I will say the Vengeance one I think I liked the best out of all three, but I rated them all 1 star because they're all about the same to me. Like,
right.
Again, they learn a little bit from their predecessor of what not to do or what didn't work. But at the end of the day, they're all just boring and hard to watch. I know they're low budget, but we've seen low budget horror movies that are just fun, and these were not fun at all. But I do recommend, take a look at me and Nathan's review on the Bunnyman Massacre, because there is some good scenes in that movie and worth to watch, I think, and talk about. But overall, I would say this is probably a trilogy of movies you want to skip.
Do the other 2 movies have things as good as the opening scenes of the Bunnyman Massacre that made us think that this movie was going to be good to cover?
Dude, that first 15 minutes of the Bunnyman Massacre, again, is like really good. It's probably the best 15 minutes of this whole like trilogy.
Okay. So the answer is no. There's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the other 2 movies that gets to that height.
No.
Gotcha.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are not good.
Bunny.
Bunny, sit down.
All right, Jill, how about you?
So I also saw Clown in a Cornfield. I actually just recorded a Now Slaying episode on it. It came out today. So if you want to hear my thoughts on Clown in a Cornfield, go over to It's Lice Podcast. I think it's interesting. You talking about your son connecting with it. When I was watching it, I definitely connected with the dad's character. Like, he's clearly a millennial.
Me too.
Yeah. And I was wondering, you as a dad would probably also connect with him. I love the dad character. He's great. Also, because we did the trailer reaction, I really love that scene where they're in the cornfield and they're like all covering each other's mouths.
Right.
So I missed that in the movie because I had to pee really bad.
Oh, no.
I was so mad at myself. And I missed one of the deaths as well because of that. But I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
That scene specifically in my movie theater got a huge reaction, like, which I love.
Damn.
People are like,
Really?
oh.
How many people were in your theater? Actually, I'm interested.
Probably, there wasn't a lot. It was probably like 10. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I went to a matinee on Sunday and there was 3 of us in the whole theater. So
Ouch.
It made really good money.
that's good because it's like a Shudder kind of
Yeah.
exclusive movie too, which is cool. They're starting to do that. in
Yeah,
the
for
theater.
sure. They said it made like the most money like an IFC movie ever. Like, I don't know if
Really?
that's the distributor or whatever. Yeah, it made like 3.6 million on less than $1 million budget in its first weekend. So
That's
good.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
at
liked
least
it.
breaking even.
It was fun. Another thing I watched for It's Lace Podcast, it was also my pick over on that show this week, and it was Creep Show, 1982, George A. Romero and Stephen King. My first watch of it, which is crazy because I review the show.
I haven't seen it either.
You have
Neither
it?
have I.
No,
You've both never seen it?
no.
Oh,
You know.
fuck. Okay, you guys have to watch it. I think you'll like it. I think Kevin especially will like it.
Because it has Tom
Yeah.
Atkins in it.
It's got Tom Atkins, your boy, and just Stephen King vibes.
Right.
That's straight up Kevin. And then I also read the comic Creepshow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sweet.
It's a really nice comic, really short too. So if you get your hands on it, it pretty much follows the movie panel by panel.
Right.
And, just a little anthology of horror and very Stephen King. God, I don't know. I really like Creepshow. I'm looking forward to watching Creepshow 2 and watching more of the show. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. What about you, Nathan?
So I haven't watched many movies, but I watched a Coen Brothers film I hadn't seen before called True Grit.
Yes.
And that's a really good movie. I like that movie a whole hell of a lot.
Have you seen the original at all, Nathan?
I have not seen the original.
It's my favorite John Wayne movie of all time. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people say on the internet saying that the remake is actually the better movie, the 2010 remake, but I haven't seen the original. So
Yeah.
it's about a girl whose father is murdered, and she hires what do you call those guys?
Like
I can't
an
remember.
older drunk.
Yeah,
Like,
well, I mean,
he's like a bounty hunter type of guy, right?
He's like a bounty hunter type of guy. Yeah. To go and hunt down the man who did it. It stars what's that chick's name from Sinners?
Oh yeah. Madeline.
Halsey. No.
Oh.
It also
I'm no
stars
good
the
with
guy from The
names.
Big Lebowski, whose name I have forgotten now.
All these nameless people.
Yeah, and
Jeff
Matt
Bridges.
Damon. Jeff Bridges, yes.
Yeah.
It stars Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, and I'm looking up her fucking name.
You almost said Jeff Damon. I have a friend named Jeff Damon, and I got triggered.
I did say Jeff Damon.
I thought he was gonna say Jeff Daniels because I get Jeff Daniels and Jeff Bridges confused all the time.
It stars Haley Steinfeld, is the little girl whose father is murdered. Because this came out in 2010. Apparently she was like 14 at the time. It was her breakout role. And it's a really good time. It's, Jeff Bridges is fun to watch as a drunk, as always. Matt Damon is fun to watch as sort of a stuck-up asshole. But the star of the movie is definitely Haley Steinfeld. She does an amazing job as being this sort of wise beyond her years, but still precocious little... I think she's supposed to be 13 or 14-year-old girl. And it's just a really cool Western about taking vengeance on some asshole who shot your dad over some horses.
Fuck yeah.
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 Girl.
The other movie I watched, not quite as normal. I watched a movie called Gummo. It's my first Harmony Korine movie, which Harmony Korine's the same guy who did Spring Breakers and a few other things.
Fucking yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I love Spring Breakers.
This came out in 1997, and it's mostly a bunch of vignettes about life in this little town that was ravaged by a tornado years before. Most people have left, it seems. It feels almost dystopian in a way, but the people who are still behind are extremely poor. My review on Letterboxd is there's something very real and authentic about this vile film that no one should ever watch. 4 stars.
Get out of here.
It's really gross. It is sort of shocking in the tradition of an early John Waters film. The two main characters, and I hesitate to call them that, but because they're really just more stars of more vignettes than other characters. They go around killing stray cats because there's a bounty on the stray cats because they've...
That sounds awful.
It's...
What's wrong with you?
Listen, it's a good movie.
These poor cats.
If the cat's upset you, you shouldn't watch the movie because it's way more upsetting than that.
Oh, no.
Fuck them cats.
But but there's also, it's disturbing and upsetting, but there's also sort of a beauty in the humanity of it. It's hard to describe. Yeah, just go with my my review on Letterboxd about it being very real and authentic and also vile, and no one should ever watch it.
4 stars.
4 stars, yes.
You're ridiculous.
I'm sorry. It's I mean, there's a part where this dude pimps out his little sister who has Down syndrome.
Oh,
It's
Nathan.
It's really bad. It's
my
nasty.
goodness.
That is vile. 4 stars.
It's good. I'm sorry, but it's good.
4 stars.
Vile. 4 stars.
We need a new straitjacket talk shirt. It's vile and
Vile?
nasty.
4
No one should
stars.
ever watch it. Yeah. Nathan.
You know, it's also very surreal at times. Like there's a part where this mother is tap dancing while threatening to kill her son. I don't know.
Lynchian.
Yeah, there's portions of it that are.
Vile.
I mean, it's Harmony Korine. I don't know. I guess that's just sort of what he did back in 1997. I haven't seen Spring Breakers yet, but now I'm extremely interested.
Please.
Because,
And then get back to me.
yeah, because you said you loved it.
Hell yeah. I
not
saw it
too
in the
long
theater.
ago. Did you?
People walked out.
Is
Jill
it vile?
stayed.
Like I'm imagining that it's
okay.
it's a tough watch, because I can't imagine the guy who made this made something that isn't a tough watch.
Spring Breakers was kind of advertised as this like mindless, like sexy spring break comedy sort of thing. And it wasn't. And but it was amazing. I love Spring Breakers. You just gotta watch it. It's a ride.
I'm gonna watch it, and then I'm gonna buy the 4K of Gummo.
And then the 4K of Spring Breakers.
if it exists, yeah, maybe.
Package deal.
Although Spring Breakers isn't on Criterion, so I'd have to buy it from another company.
It is A24 though.
Oh, was it A24?
It is. I think. Yep.
Okay.
It's one of the first like
I was
A24
gonna
movies.
say,
I feel
I think
like.
it's one of the
Right.
first. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, A24 put some fucking respect on my girl's name, Kevin. Maika Monroe, the bling ring.
Oh.
Also
I haven't seen the bling ring.
What?
Have you ever seen the bling ring?
I've never heard of the Bling Ring.
Okay. It's based on like a real life. It was like these teenage girls who would break into celebrities' houses in LA and like steal their shit. Emma Watson's in the movie. Maika Monroe is in the movie. It's good. I don't know. I like it.
Okay. That's another one to check out, I suppose.
Another one.
Is it in the same vein as Spring Breakers?
Is
Is
it
that
vile?
why you brought
A
it up?
little
or-
bit. It's not as vile as Spring Breakers. Spring Breakers
Right,
is incredible.
It's a tough watch, I'm guessing, though, right? Like it's not.
I mean, it depends on what, like, I don't know. I think people were expecting something and got something else. You got James Franco being like, look at all my shit. Look at all my shit.
Look at my shit. Look at my shit. I got my blue Kool-Aid.
That's literally what happened.
It's
Yeah.
very descriptive.
That's a perfect James Franco impression.
I guess that's as descriptive of my description of Gummo, but you know.
It's got Vanessa Hudgens. It's got
I like
Selena
her.
Gomez.
Ashley Benson from Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah. And I'm in love with Selena Gomez. So
Oh,
you know.
yeah. And Selena Gomez.
Although I'm sort of in love with Selena Gomez from Only Murders in the Building more than back when, because she was,
She was a little kid.
yeah, exactly.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, that does it for our review on It Follows. But we'll be back soon with another review, and we're going to be doing my pick. The handcuffs are off. We're doing Escape from New York, one of my favorites from John Carpenter. But until then, there's someone behind you. Back to the padded room.
Ah.